morning. How are you?
I'm doing great.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
I sent somebody your way this week. Hopefully you'll hear from her.
I think I did see that come through, so I appreciate that.
All right. She's real this time.
Okay, good. That helps.
Yeah.
Did y'all get a storm yesterday?
Just some rain. Maybe the night before last might have been when there was a storm.
We got like marble size hail that came down over here, and literally our house, like we're fine. Hey, out there. They're attached at the hip. Like that's just what happens. But yeah, so like 5 minutes away from me, all my friends got hit with hail damage, and my house is. I mean, I haven't checked my cars or anything, but it was just
Yeah.
raining over here. It's just really weird. But they showed me pictures and everything. It looks like little marbles, ice marbles.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you probably got the same storm that came through Tennessee and northern Alabama.
Well, I'm here to help and do what I've got to do, but it sucks when you've done so good with this. This coronavirus has like it's got it's for insurance purposes. It's got its pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Because now there's less claims, so they're making more money.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they think they're sitting back and going to have a very profitable year, and the storm comes through in 5 minutes and says, "Nope, we're going to take that away."
Right. Right. No kidding. I
So,
see we got Donna there too. Stace, are you on now? Are you on, Stace? I think you're muted. Lower left, you want to hit. Let me check. She might be having some technical difficulties. Hang on. Be right back.
Donna, are you there?
I am.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm on my phone because I have to go pick up my groceries as soon as they text me. So,
That's the best way to do it.
yeah.
And you're getting it done early, which is impressive.
Well, you have to make the appointment so much in advance.
So we kind of stopped doing that for a minute because we kind of got duped. We went like at this point, I guess it's probably 2 months ago, but that's how we were doing it. But then when we pulled up, we were waiting there forever and no one came out. So
for joining us for the second Real Estate Scoop with Stacy. I just thought that I would if it was safe to go out or safe to list their home, or if they should refinance or not, or if they should go get like better insurance or what have you. So people have been having all kinds of questions. So just wanted to take the time to connect with everybody. And first and foremost, just make sure that you guys all know that we're here to provide you any information anytime, whether you're, not looking to sell your house or buy a house now. We're always here as a resource for you, and always to do it safely. So we're going to talk a little bit about some things we're doing to be safe in the market, and just in general about what's going on in our area. But in the state of Virginia, it is an essential business, real estate. So that's why we're continuing to work and following all the guidelines like the 6 feet rules, and wearing masks and gloves and having the Lysol ready in the car, and all that jazz. So just to make sure that we're being good citizens and staying safe ourselves, and keeping all of our clients and then the clients whose homes we're showing safe as well. So we're going to be sharing some ideas and some facts today at a high level, but if there's anything specific you want to know about your area, then definitely reach out to us afterwards and let us know specifically what you're looking for, what data for your neighborhood. So our business has changed, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what's been changing with it, and what we're doing differently more in a few minutes. But before COVID, the market inventory was low. So it's one of those things where it's even dropped more since COVID started. So people were already having a hard time finding the homes that they wanted to purchase. And our area is just, very lucky. We typically weather these types of storms pretty well as far as being able to bounce back, because we have, government workers, a lot of military, folks coming in and out, and just, the market is typically good. So people tend to want to live here. The schools are good. The three immediate counties, Prince William, Loudoun, and Fairfax, are all great schools. So people want to come and have their kids attend those schools. So that makes our market values typically go up. But because there's so many folks here, inventory can be low. And it's really been low for the past 5 years. And this is just kind of making things worse, because people are taking their houses off the market sometimes when they don't feel safe. So just for an example, today I wanted to use Prince William County. And just this month, in the last 25 days, 17 have canceled. 57 have expired, and 52 have withdrawn, but 481 have closed this month already, and we have 902 pending. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to settle this next week in April, but it means their settlement is coming up. So they could be settling in April, May, maybe even June. Typically settlements are roughly 30 to 60 days. So, but we have 753 that are for sale or coming soon. So while that's not a lot, at least it's something. So if you're out there looking and are thinking about Prince William County, there's hope there's going to be more coming on. And people, I think, that had plans to sell their home, a lot of them are still going forward with it. Our March numbers, which Ed's going to go over a little bit in more detail in a few minutes with some charts and stuff, I think we see that as looking pretty good, but I think that that's just rollover and, wash over from what was going on in our early spring this year, which was our January, February. People were out and about. It was warmer than usual. We didn't have snow this year. So I think that those numbers look good on paper, but in general, that's not really the truth of the market. I think we'll see that coming with when the April numbers and May numbers come out. But just another quick statistic, so to speak, the existing home sales in March have dropped 8.5%, and the new home sales have dropped 15.4%, which is the largest drop in 6 years. I would have thought that people would go for the new home, I thought they would go for that and say, it's clean, no virus, no one's lived there. That's what I personally would have done, but it just, depends. Some people have to move more quickly. And the new home sales, if you've ever purchased a new home before, it takes a while to get it built. And they may have even longer delays at this point because of getting the right folks in there to get the work done. So they may be behind on their staffing and that type of thing. So, but serious buyers are out there, and we're helping people daily. I know Ed's got his folks he's helping in the commercial land, and I'm helping people in the residential land, and we're getting calls, we're getting questions. The rates are good, and we're not shopping the way that we used to, and there's few offers and less competition. But I think that as soon as people get back to work and that type of thing, that we'll be back to business. So hopefully this is going to take a hit, but hopefully not too big of a hit. And I think that, there's some changes in lending as well that have made it a little bit difficult to get some loans through. So that might be keeping some people. I know they're requiring, of course, employment verification and verifying those multiple times throughout the process, and as well, higher scores in many cases. When you might have been able to get away with like a lower sixes, like 625 or something, they're requiring much closer to 700, if not 700, to get some of the deals done. I'm not saying in all cases, but they're definitely requiring higher scores, and they're taking a little bit longer too to get the deals done in some cases. So definitely let us know if you need any recommendations for lending and any of our vendors. So happy to help you with that. So Ed was going to show a little bit about the data from March. Are you? Okay. He's asking me to share my screen since the audio isn't working on the other one. I can't hear you.
Tell him to go to control panel on that computer and see if the sound is matching the speakers on the system he's using.
All right, I'm not able to.
Hey, Stacy, those numbers that you posted, were they for just a county up there specifically, or?
Oh, what I was just talking about, that was Prince William. I used this as an example.
And there were 480 confirmed contracts. Is that what you're saying? Not closings, but
Yeah,
contracts?
481 closed this month already.
Oh, 481 already closed. What's the average?
I didn't write down in my notes what the average was, but this wasn't that far off from last year in March.
Okay, so
And
there's no spike either way is what you're saying. It's pretty normal.
It's down just a little bit from last March, but that's what I was saying is it's just it makes us feel like it's not that bad, but it's because we had them going under contract with an early warm, morning. I'm sorry, not morning, early warm, beginning of the year. We had like an early spring.
Gotcha.
Sorry, somebody else was trying to get in here. So January and February, we had a lot of things go under contract before the virus hit. So those make our March numbers look good, but they're not really what, while we're living in the virus here in this past March, we were feeling, that tension, but the numbers were still looking good. And that's because people were shopping in January and February. That was my point. That make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, but it's one of those things where we'll see what the numbers look like here, and end of April, beginning of May, that type of thing. So, so what else did I want to tell you guys about? So, one of the questions, and I got it yesterday from somebody: is it possible to buy a house right now, and what do I need to do, and how do I do it? And how can we make that easier for you? So one of the things is to get your documents in order for your lender, because if you can't get your money, then you can't buy the house. So getting your documents together, and just knowing that there could be those delays that I spoke about a couple of minutes ago. So just keeping that in mind and not butting up your dates like too close together. I mean, I always tell people to have a overlap of a couple of weeks, because people think, oh, I'm going to settle on the 15th and I'm going to move in on the 15th. Well, it doesn't always happen that way. You have delays with the settlements. Sometimes, something goes wrong with your moving company. I mean, it could be a million reasons why things get delayed. And so you always want to have some days to overlap, because no matter where you are, you're always going to have to clean, check out. If you're in a rental, there's rules about you have to have it inspected before, you can have your final walk out or whatever it is. So it's one of those things where it's always good to have a little bit of time that overlays and you protected yourself. So, but how we are going through doing business now is this type of thing. We're using Zoom, we're using Facebook Live, we're doing the virtual consultations, we're doing the virtual tours. Some we're recording and putting on social media so people can watch them later. We're making sure that there's tours in all of our listings, that type of thing. We are doing virtual stagings. We're doing virtual home inspections with our home inspector. Of course, when they do go in the property, they're wearing all the appropriate protective gear, but also our moving companies are doing virtual appointments and getting at least an estimate to folks about how much it's going to cost to move them. So it's one of those things that we're just all trying to be as safe as possible. And sometimes, this is the best bet to do it this way. Sometimes sellers are not allowing the people in to do the inspections or repairs or things like that. They're giving credits for repairs. And in many cases, they are not allowing even showings beyond just one person, and they have to be pre-qualified and, you know, wear all the protective gear like the booties and the face masks and gloves and things like that. But we're doing open houses this weekend. Ed's actually doing them, and it's one person at a time and all those same precautions. And then, of course, by demand, if someone wants virtual, you know, a personal virtual tour where we're going to a specific room for them, showing them specific details and features of the house, we will do that as well, just to make it easier. Sometimes doing a virtual tour where we're just going around and then posting it isn't really getting into the nuts and bolts of things they care about. It's not, you know, opening up the cabinet and really getting deep into the closets and things like that, seeing about the space, because people don't really want to come out unless they have to. So we're suggesting that people do all the regular homework ahead of time. A lot of times people want to go see the house first and then do that other homework later. But we're suggesting to go ahead and look on Google Maps, check the schools, walk the neighborhood, you know, drive through at different points and times during the week, and make sure it's a house you're really super interested in, so that way when you do go in the house and, you know, take that next step of going in physically, that it's something that's really, you know, serious on your list. So any questions so far?
No, Stacy, are the interest rates, have they fallen significantly?
So they definitely have fallen, and they've been about the same for, you know, this past month or so. Now, if you look at a graph, you might see them just going up and down like a little bit here and there, but in general, they've been pretty flat around the 3 mark. And people have been asking, is it a good time to refinance and that type of thing? It depends on what your rate is. So you need to be about a whole point to make it worth it. So if you are at 4, then refinancing at 3, you know, makes sense. But if you're already at like 3 1/4, you're probably already at a really good spot. So it probably isn't a good idea to go through the whole process if it's not worth it for you. Does that make sense?
It does. I think I'm at 4.1, so I might want to look at that.
Okay. Yep, definitely. So I'm happy to connect you back with your lender and figure out if that is, you know, an option for you. You might as well ask I mean, it doesn't cost anything to ask the questions, and they probably have all your information still, so they can just let you know quickly if that's something that would work for you. So.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at as of this moment. I mean, I've heard from a lot of loan officers they're changing daily, obviously, but I mean, like the spread is not like, hey, an eighth here, an eighth there. It could go from a quarter to a half point in a day's time, and so
then it adjusts back. Yeah. So when you look at it, yeah, I looked at a report yesterday and it showed the whole week and it just said 3. You know, so I'm sure it dipped up, it dipped down, you know, went either way. But at the end of the day, it kind of always landed about at 3-ish. So I don't think that like you're missing out if you don't lock in like, you know, today, because I think tomorrow is about the same. And then some of the lenders that we partner with have an automatic free float down. So if they do see it dip down, you know, while you're in the process, they'll just go ahead and adjust you down for free for one time. So that's nice.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why I brought that up is you're exactly right. And, you know, there's a possibility that you could get, you know, 2 3/4, 2.75. I mean, it's there. You just need somebody that's going to be on top of it, looking out and ready to lock.
Watching. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when it goes down. And we had a certain experience with that. I mean, I think that they were doing all they could, but the loan officer we were working with, their computer froze. They couldn't log in. It was a day when everybody was trying to lock rates. We were actually quoted 2.875. And we were like, hey, lock, let's go. This was back in February.
Yes.
And then the rates just shot up. So he was like, I can't get you that anymore. I'm like, well, we told you to lock. We were like right there on the phone. We said, do this. And he was like, well, I couldn't. I was like, well, your company needs to, honor that. Well, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we got 3 and we had the company pay the points for 3. So we kind of met halfway. But that was when we didn't know what was going to happen. So I was like, we got to get this thing in and locked and done. I mean, we were at 4.6 back in 2014. We never refinanced. So it was just an opportunity for us to do that and lock in and save some money there. I mean, I think we saved like something crazy, like $300-400.
That's great. We also refinanced one of our properties and we saved $300 a month, which is worth it, right? If you can do it.
Big time. The recoup is you need it for another 2 years. I mean, that's you stay in it for another 2 years and you've recouped. Whereas back when I did, loans ages ago, you had to stay in it for like anywhere from like 4 to 5. Remember, like it wasn't that big of a move. Like it saves you $100, but you've got to recoup that. Usually, it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 years. Now it's sooner. So yeah, it was. So the rates are they're adjusting, but your loan officers that stay on it. That's why you want to take Stacy's recommendations. By the way, we did get a referral for Paula and Leslie, and we rocked it. And the customer's already happy. It's already done. I've already made follow-up calls, and hopefully we'll get some traction going with that. So I appreciate anything you said or didn't say, but we did get the referral, and I know we were talking about that, so I'm sure you had something to do with it.
Awesome. Well, good for you. That's great. Yeah. And so anybody that's listening to this call later too, if you're worried about or just curious about your insurance rate, then Jason can help you. So
perfect.
You can probably explain it better than I can, Jason, but I tell people that you can, shop across different platforms and figure out what's the best insurance and the most cost-effective insurance for their situation.
Exactly. We have we're an independent insurance company. We can shop several different carriers to make sure you're getting the absolute best deal, the right coverages. It's a custom policy just for you. And then obviously we're looking out for you to save you the most money.
Thank you. So Ed, did you have something else you wanted to add about the graphs or about a little tidbit on commercial?
Yeah, so unfortunately, technical difficulties. I can't share the graphs. They're on the computer Stacy's on, but we'll send them out to anyone that wants to see. I use 2 sources of data to really keep up with the local real estate market. One is George Mason, has a center for the local economy, their own research institute, headed by Dr. Terry Glauer. And he puts out data on a quarterly basis that he gets right from the U.S. Bureau of Statistics, and then he puts his own visualizations on it. But it backs up a lot of what Stacy's talking about when you hear low inventory, low new home inventory, because the municipalities aren't issuing the proffers that they had in the past. And then you have low rates, you have good price points because prices are staying steady for those looking to sell, but you also have not a lot of competition in the buying side, and you have willing buyers. So the people that are in the market are people that really want to be in the market. There's not a lot of optional stuff. It's people that want to sell, people that want to buy. And right now we're seeing a little bit more like a typical fall housing market where people are a little bit more reasonable. It's more balanced because of the low inventory and low rates. On the commercial side, what you want me to go into commercial, Stace?
We should touch base because I think it gives information about what we're going to experience as consumers.
Yeah. So commercial side is, when you talk about commercial, you really got to talk about the swim lanes of commercial. So there's industrial, retail, office, multifamily, hospitality. And of course, the hospitality market is getting crushed. People are not traveling, and the hotel industry has a lot of vacancies. There's even in the news, you see where different municipalities are using hotels for capacity if they need it for healthcare, just because they have beds and they have the ability to compartmentalize patients. Office is the space that everybody in the commercial industry is talking about as going to take a hit from this. There was already a trend towards more virtual workplace in the office space. And this has forced the people who were laggards or who were objectionists to that to realize that maybe they can live with virtual workplace. Of course, there's going to be some people that just don't prefer it, but companies with heavy office space requirements are probably going to be constricting their need for office space and looking to lower their costs. What does that say? We're seeing less demand on the lease side, and we're seeing less demand on the purchase side. There's probably going to be some opportunities for repurposing of office space. You think about downtown LA 15 years ago when the Staples Center was built. A lot of that vacant office space around it was rezoned for residential. And so you had lofts and apartments going into old office buildings. With retail tends to follow residential, but in this case, it's taking a short-term hit. There's going to be expected opportunities in the retail space because of closures, small businesses that go under, and probably landlords that are hurt from either not being able to renegotiate their mortgage on their shopping center, or not getting the rental income because of the downfall of retail. So there's going to be some select opportunities. It will probably recover more than office will, but not at the pace that people hope. And then industrial, everybody is bullish on industrial. They talk about a 10-year trajectory on industrial, both the combination of increased reliance on logistics and distribution from e-commerce and shipping, but then also boutique industries that are coming up around the country. There's a lot of talk about what industrial has done in Colorado and Washington State and California from legalization of marijuana. That obviously creates big open places where black lights can be, and therefore the plants can grow a lot longer than they can in these colder places outdoors. So there's lots of talk about get into industrial early, and we probably have a 10-year boom in front of us for commercial. Commercial rates are still strong. They tend to not be as low as residential rates, but there's opportunities with Small Business Administration loans and also with direct commercial real estate mortgage loans.
Thank you. Well, I think that it's all gonna start trending back as soon as we can physically get back out there. But you have seen some people in the past few weeks call and need space in commercial, just like we have in residential. So I don't think any of it's stopping completely. I just think people are just being a little bit more cautious, and it's just going to take time to try to get back to our new normal.
Right. We closed 2 leases just this week. That one was more industrial and one was more retail wholesale. A wholesaler. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have listings and we have buyers who actually 2 of them are asking about seeing things today. So we're still seeing things move. So, but I think there's possibly pockets where, there are deals to be had. It just depends on, everybody's schedule with need to sell or, they don't mind holding, type of thing. So I think people are making plans to, the what ifs, instead of maybe a few months ago, they're like, oh, we're going to put it on, we're going to get a contract, we're going to have it sold. And now people are making more secondary plans, like a backup plan B about, what if it doesn't sell? What will I do? Will I reduce the price? Will I rent it? Or will I take it off the market? So there's definitely all those options are being considered. But overall, I'd like to leave with a positive note that things are moving. We're finding ways to do business where we're getting it done. We're staying safe. We want to keep you informed. Like I said earlier, if you'd like specific numbers about a county or, your street, your neighborhood, what have you, we're here to help. We're here to find and gather that data and deliver it to you in a way that's easy to understand and show you and go over with you on a call like this, or in person at some point 6 feet away, or over the telephone. So whatever works for you. But call us if you have any questions, and thanks everybody who was able to join us. We'll try our best, as long as technology serves us well. We'll try to post this for others to see, but keep us in mind. And if you have anybody that you know that might need our help, we'd love to meet them. So enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you,
Bye.
folks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
All right.
stopping by.
All right.
Good
Bye.
to see you guys, even if it's virtual.
Okay, you too,
All right.
Donna.
Bye
See
now.
ya.
Take care.
Bye.